Welcome to the Running Channel podcast with me, Sarah Hartley, Andy Baddeley and Rick Kelsey. And today we are giving you 3 types of workouts to help you become a faster runner.
And we're going to look into all of the benefits that each of the different types of workouts have and how they can help you to become a faster runner.
We're actually going to provide you with examples of each workout, and then we're going to check to see that you are completing them correctly. How are we going to do that?
I'm not sure that was really part of the plan, but you can DM Rick.
How are we going to do that?
How are we going to do that?
Take everything he says with a pinch of salt. We're also going to cover your questions and some news and probably undo everything Rick's just said. Let's get into it.
What are you talking about, mate? How are we going to check that people are doing the workouts correctly?
Something about a pen and paper.
What Rick did is he read what producer Owen had written. He then tried to remember it and then got himself into such a mess that he then couldn't undo it.
I think what you were meant to say was get a pen and paper ready so that you can write down the workouts.
And let us know how you get on.
Yeah.
Get a pen and paper ready so you can write down the workouts and then let us know how you go on.
Do you know what, just before we started recording as well, Rick, we were kind of dividing up different parts of the podcast that we might take the lead on. And then there was a particular part that's going to come about a very specific type of workout. Rick was like, yeah, that's my expertise. I think that's where I'm best. And Sarah just made the biggest sort of off-camera grimace of doubt that you've ever seen.
But then he immediately went, yeah, so I'll intro it, but then you guys will come in. Right.
Yeah, like the desperate plea for help.
Right, before we get on to what we all want to talk about, which is parkrun, the review of Hell's Fire Parkrun. Andy, how's your week of running been?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it culminated pretty much in going to Hell's Fire Parkrun. So we are going to review Rick's allegedly hilliest parkrun in the world that we all went to at the weekend.
That is now proven.
I did before that. Obviously, Hell's Fire was incredibly difficult, but before that, I did the toughest workout I've done in a long, long time.
Oh, really?
And had producer Owen on the bike accompanying me. He was riding the bike, and then George, one of our team, was filming at the same time. Nice. So I really felt the pressure, and it was absolutely brutal.
And we filmed it all, so you'll be able to see the pain in the next few weeks. And it was quite hot last week, wasn't it? And because we were filming and you live miles away.
Yeah, I was like, can we start at 8 a.m? And they're like, no, we've got to drive, we've got to get there. Can we start at 11 a.m? 11 a.m. during a heat wave.
Make you a better runner.
So why was it so hard?
Because it was 23, nearly 24K in total volume. And a huge part of it was quite fast. So I've tried to explain this workout to loads of different people and they've all been completely baffled by it, even seeing it written down. It was basically 2 sets of 2 miles at tempo and a short recovery, then 5 800-meter reps, and they were alternating in pace. So reps 1, 3, and 5 of those 5 were really hard, like 5K pace. Yeah. Then reps 2 and 4 are a bit slower. And there was recovery between those, and you're doing the whole thing again. So it's 2 miles, 5 800s, 2 miles, 5 800s.
Brutal. With such a long workout, how do you get through it mentally? Are you just chunking it? Yeah,
I was just entirely focused on the first half, so that first set, and not even thinking about the second set. And then once it got halfway through, then I was thinking about the 2 mile tempo, not thinking about what's coming next at all. And then I was just one at a time, try and hit the times, get there. And I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own. So Owen was actually genuinely brilliant on the bike.
He is good.
Really supportive. Although he was coming out with some ridiculous things as well.
Such as?
It was an incredibly flat route. And he was... Every now and again, he'd just go, just use this downhill, Andy, get the pace going. And a few times I actually replied quite expletive laden.
Really? Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? It's pancake flat.
Oh, so he wasn't saying funny things like, hey, Rick, is the hill started yet?
Oh, that's what I was saying to you during Hell's Fire Parkrun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So should we move on to that? Rick wants to come back to him. So let's do that. I'm doing some half marathon training. That's a summary of my week. And it's been very hot.
Do I get a summary of my week? Or
how was your week?
Already?
How was your week?
My week was a week of 2 halves. I bailed out of an interval session on Tuesday, and then I was so just not tired after Hell's Fire Parkrun that I did such a good long run on Sunday.
Oh. Yeah. Well, it was like a good... For you and me, Sarah, I would have said the parkrun with Rick. So for everyone listening, that's a 5K run, 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. Rick, every other week, goes to exactly the same parkrun when it's his week, and his lovely wife is looking after the children. I mean, she's doing that 6.5 days a week anyway. Yeah. But 6.5. So this was Rick's week. We'd agreed to go with him. Yeah. And I think for you and I, it was a really lovely, sort of gentle, undulating shakeout.
It was. Right, let's get into it. So the route itself is a 3-lapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 3/4.
Do you know what I was scared about for the whole time we were running is I was kind of listening to the briefing from Spreadsheet Chris.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it was amazing to meet the characters that,
we met
sound like they're straight out of Gavin and Stacey or some kind of
all of
sitcom.
these characters are real. We met Spreadsheet Chris.
Yeah.
Joe Whip, super quick Joe Whip.
Super quick Joe Whip.
Magic Mike.
Yeah.
Speedy Sam had just had a kid.
Speedy Sam wasn't there, but congratulations.
We met a new character as well. We met the lovely Deirdre.
Oh,
who is
yeah,
at the top
Dainty
of,
Deirdre.
She's at the top of the hill,
Deirdre
shouting incredible levels of encouragement to everybody. So shout out to Deirdre.
Absolute legend, Deirdre.
Yeah. She also gave me
was just at the top of the hill going, the head, the arms, think of the head,
think
and
your
the
chin,
arms.
think your chin, yeah. And then she was like getting quite, I thought she was brilliant.
I think
Very
you two were
good.
slightly blown away that A, these people existed, and
Correct.
B, at the announcements at the start, they also were referred to by their names because of us using their names.
Yes, I had assumed that you'd completely fabricated those names.
No, but it's all real. So it's a 3-lapper, but in the briefing that Spreadsheet Chris gave, really paid attention at the start, then got a bit distracted, and then all I heard was something about, now, don't go wrong at the end, because the end of it is basically... You might turn left and go into the finish line a bit too early. They've coned it off perfectly, so it was fine. But the whole time, every lap, I was thinking
that's the end.
Where do you go for the end?
Yeah, you have to do. There's some tight corners.
There are some tight corners.
Yeah.
So the hill.
The hill.
What?
The elevation. It's been proven.
So
you can understand why I get a nosebleed every.
Rick
second
was
Saturday.
talking about oxygen. He was talking about altitude. I saw him taking altitude sickness tablets before we started.
The summary was we got partway around the first lap where apparently we had already crested said hill. And I turned to Rick,
He was
who was
so annoying.
And was like,
it was 24 degrees. It was boiling hot, and you two were just jogging around having a chat. It was so annoying to watch.
Well,
from
can we
behind
talk
you.
about what was really annoying?
Go on.
We all showed up together.
Yeah.
We all decided we were going to go out for a lovely park run together.
I did enjoy it.
And then what happened in the first 500 metres?
I just did what I normally do, just legged it.
What Rick did
but probably
is
legged it. I struggled to keep up with you because you were weaving through the crowds.
3:45 per kilometre pace. 3:45. That's what you set off at.
Yeah, but it's tight at
Your
the start.
PB pace is 4:30 per kilometre.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tight at the start. So I like to
But that doesn't
get
matter.
in a good position.
You don't need. Yeah, but your good position is death. That's where you got yourself to. And lovely podcast Ben was over visiting from Australia.
He was. Yeah.
Shout out
He
to
was
Ben.
struggling as well.
You and Andy raced off.
Yeah.
Me and podcast Ben were running together, and he turns around and goes, "What's he doing?"
I didn't race
and
off.
I was like, "He's being an idiot." That is what he's
But
doing.
I like to get the momentum down the hill, so I get about
how's
50
that?
meters up the hill with my momentum
Yeah,
before
you're not on a bike.
before the ice starts.
Yeah, you're not on a bike.
wheel.
Yeah, and I don't. Wow.
You didn't have your crampons on either. I thought that was.
Yeah.
We should have been roped together.
Yeah.
You know what they do to avoid falling down a crevasse and all that sort of stuff.
Well, and you saw them in real time. It was a heck of a run, and it was great to have you with me. Thank you for coming.
I enjoyed it. It was moderately hilly, I would say.
You know
Moderately
what?
hilly.
The hill on lap 3 was savage. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it burns.
And if you're used to like a kind of flat 5k route that you do normally, that is quite a savage one. But I had a great chat with someone afterwards. I kind of prefer courses like that because you're constantly there is a downhill to compensate for the uphill.
Well, it's either
what
up
goes
or
up
down.
must come down.
Yeah.
There's a lovely little flat section. You go round some trees.
Yeah, it's pretty.
What I will say is, so it was hardly the Lake District. It was hardly kind of mountain. It was hardly mountainous. But
This is what he was like on the run. This is what he was like the whole
It's
time,
hardly the
shouting
Lake
abuse at me the whole way. It was 24 degrees.
Do you know me and Andy as well? Andy, my favourite point was on lap at one point on the hill. It was either on lap 2 or 3. Me and Andy had got a little bit ahead of you because you were struggling
on the hill.
to your first 500 metres
Yes.
of madness.
Yeah.
Andy just turns to me and goes, "Do you know, I actually really struggle to drop my pace to get back." I'm not sure how we're going to get back to him because I'm just finding it really hard to slow
I felt like we were almost standing still and he wasn't
I did have a
catching up with
little-
us.
We did what? 23:45?
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah,
your
you
PBs
absolutely smashed it. And do you know the other thing? Andy turns to me with
In the
1k
heat.
to go and goes, "If he runs a 4-minute kilometre, he could PB on this." And then we turn around and you're halfway up the hill like
On all.
on all fours.
And at one point, you did actually go,
Waving
"Seriously,
a
mate, slow your
flag."
breathing down."
Yes, I was trying to help. I was trying to be. I switched from being deliberately annoying to trying to help.
When we crossed through the funnel, you disappeared for a little bit. Was that?
Oh yeah, you couldn't
Were you
talk to
all
us. You looked so cross with life.
And there were so many lovely people coming over, and you were just like, "Give me a sec."
Yeah.
And just went and hid behind a.
You were the
bush.
reddest I've ever seen you.
Yeah, I don't know who it was, but some guy, normally they'll say if they've got some water, oh, can I tip it over you? Do you want a bit on your head? Some guy just poured his water over my head
Didn't even
to cool me
ask.
down. He's like, that guy needs some help. Yeah, cool him
It
down.
was hard. Anyone who was racing at the weekend in the UK, hats off to you, because it is brutal running in the heat.
Joking aside, you could run 30 seconds to 1 minute quicker on a flat 5K.
The fact that that's your PB.
The fact that your fastest ever 5K is on that course is ridiculous. So I'm giving you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, look how happy
That's
he
nice.
is.
Yeah.
So you've got it. You've got it in your locker. So then, what did we do? What did we do after parkrun? So we'd finished our 5K in the heat.
Yeah.
We jogged gently across the park to complete our very short warm down.
Cool down.
Yeah, one of those. And then Sarah blindfolded you with her hands.
Yeah, so I knew there was going to be a surprise coming, but I wasn't sure what it would be. So we walked about 500 meters down the road, and before we turned the corner, Sarah said to me, right, cover your eyes, cover your eyes, cover your eyes and walk slowly, stop. And then I opened my eyes, and what did I see?
The Ford sauna van.
Bliss, paradise, beauty.
I've never
the calm
seen
that
you
came over
happier.
you so instantly because it
Zen.
was piping kind of Zen music out of the back of this electric transit that's been fully converted into an infrared sauna. And when they got in touch with us, we actually couldn't believe the how much it fit. I think the only thing that could have been more appropriate was someone getting in touch offering some kind of like facial skincare routine.
Which you could do within the van.
Yeah. So we
Amongst the Canadian
you popped on.
pine.
Yeah. You had
Basically,
the Canadian pine.
a mobile spa turned up in the back of a Ford Transit van.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And you're thinking, it's boiling hot. I don't want to be anywhere warmer,
Yeah.
to do some heat training.
Yeah.
And you sat in it, and there's this air and smell and kind of smoky steam being pumped around. And you just felt so calm. But the picture of the three of us wearing full spa gear and robes at Hell's Fire Parkrun is something that I would have said was very unlikely to ever happen.
But it did happen.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was so cool. And it was a genuine surprise, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
We managed to keep it a secret.
Well, we because we did you did the test of the core temperature monitor to find out whether you were actually bothering to do any heat training. You put on a full heat suit, you went on the treadmill, trained really hard for 30 minutes, and the science told us you actually couldn't
Didn't push it hard enough.
Yeah, you didn't go hard enough. So we just decided to settle for passive heat training. That seems to be your kind of sweet spot.
Correct, but that was because my body is used to passive heat training through hot tubs.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I feel like though you're now going to be scouring the internet for your own Ford Transit van because Ford spent 6 months turning this e-transit van into an e-sauna. So it's got this infrared sauna in it.
Is it touring the UK? I think they're taking around the UK.
Yeah, it's touring the UK. So if you are up for a sauna, keep your eyes out for it. But even more excitingly, if you are the owner of a Ford Transit van,
Yes,
you can get it converted into a sauna.
I just like the idea of a load of builders like turning up. It's like, oh yeah, the spanner's in a van, son. And like Dave goes down, opens the van. He's like, ain't no spanner in here, mate. Just a spa.
What's happened? What has happened? Also, I think if you did use your whole back of the transit van up for a sauna, you would struggle to get some tools and stuff in there. Maybe dual.
Why do you need tools?
It might improve the
You don't
efficiency
need
of
anything.
builders.
You have a seat. You could have a picnic in the little changing area.
That's true. Rick's a big enough tool for everybody, I reckon.
You've still got seats in the front. Oh, beautiful. I think we need to go to more places with it.
Yeah.
Honestly, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming. Anyway.
Yeah,
We loved
thanks
it.
Ford for pulling off that surprise with us because that was an excellent end to a parkrun.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone had guessed it correctly either, because we teased it as to what it might be.
Yeah, we got people guessing in the Running Channel Club, but no one could guess.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about 3 workouts to make you a faster runner?
Let's. Do you want to start off with your one?
Yeah, shall I kick off with one that I actually did last week? The interval workout to boost your speed and VO2 max. I did one of these in Royden Park, Andy. Do you remember training in Royden Park?
I do.
On the Wirral?
You and I think back in the day, that's not too far. That's on the Wirral.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful park. And when I was a kid, one of our cross country teachers had us out there in the holidays, like doing very specific loops, and they all had random names, like Kelsey Corner, Baddeley's Bottom,
Baddeley's Beach.
Yeah, better. Baddeley's Bump.
Baddeley's Bump.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I had anything named after me, actually.
Yeah.
A bit cross about that.
Yeah. Baddeley's Bridge. There are loads.
There could have been,
You just need to be better at it.
Yeah,
Think alliteration, mate. So these all target your VO2 max, so the amount of oxygen that your body can use during workouts.
Yeah, so we're talking about a specific kind of interval workout. We're talking about a workout where you keep your heart rate up and operate at a specific kind of intensity, really, for long enough to have a benefit to your VO2 max.
Yeah, but the idea, though, is to kind of push your cardiovascular system, isn't it? So it can go near its peak while you're running. And often you might do that by doing 6 or 8 times a certain distance. So 6 times 200 meters, 6 times 400 meters as you're building up. Yeah. I actually only did 6 times 200 meters last week.
When you said you do a VO2 max workout, is
that not enough? No, so it needs to be 400.
It's more the total amount of time that you keep your heart rate up for, I think. So you're talking 15 to 20 minutes minimum, really, of like elevated heart rate, where you are operating at probably, we'd be saying 8 to 9 out of 10 in terms of rate of perceived exertion. So often VO2 max workouts will have relatively short recoveries.
Right.
And so, yeah, you're right, though. Like, we've got a list here of things that, you might classify as a beginner workout, say 6 times 400 meters at 5K pace, with a jog walk recovery that's going to take you 1 minute to 2 minutes in between each of those, and then just stepping up in distances as you go up to like intermediate 6 to 8 times 600 meters. So it's a longer effort at the harder intensity, and then maybe 8 to 10 times 800 meters as a more advanced workout. It'd be a struggle to do 10 800 meters at 5K pace, I think, because obviously that's 8K of effort at your 5K pace. So I think you'd be looking at more like 5 to 10K pace then as you go up in those distances. But yeah, you're talking about 20 to 30 minutes of hard effort as you get towards the hard end of that scale.
And as you increase the amount of times that you're doing these interval workouts, to show that you've improved, I suppose that would be reducing the recovery time. So if you were doing 400 meter jog recovery, you could reduce that down to a 200 meter jog recovery.
Yeah, and you'll see it in training plans as well. So if you are training for like a 5K, for example, you right at the start of the training plan, you might have a slightly longer, like 90-second recovery. Yeah. And then towards the end of the plan, it might only be 60 seconds, for example.
Yeah, that's a good way of repeating the same session, and hopefully you maintain the same time, same pace that you're running. Yeah. But off short recoveries, that clearly shows that you're fitter. And that's how I used to train for the 1500 meters. 6 times 400 meters actually as a junior was my kind of staple 1500 meter session. Because if you think about that, the 1500 meters is 3 3/4 laps. So here you're doing 6. So you're kind of doing slightly over distance, and you're trying to run your race pace. But I would start the season with like 2 minutes recovery between each one. But then by the end of the season, it'd be 60 seconds, as a youngster.
I see.
And so you've halved your recovery, but kept the quality the same. And actually, I might have even got faster during the season.
Is the discipline here on the RPE, the rate of perceived exertion, that you're going for an 8 to 9 out of 10? So hard, but consistent.
It's not flat out.
It's not a sprint. Yeah. I think that's where I go wrong.
200 meters you can sprint for.
You can sprint for 200 meters, whereas 400 meters, it's a hard pace. It's your 5K pace, but you're not all out. And I think that's where people go wrong in intervals.
I think as well, it's the consistency. So like if you are doing kind of 6 to 10 reps, it's making sure that, and I am so guilty of doing this sometimes. In fact, I did it in an interval session last week. If your first rep is like 30 seconds per kilometre faster than your last rep, then
you've done it wrong.
You've done it wrong. Like you're looking for kind of as consistent a pace throughout all of the reps as possible.
Yeah, funnily enough, what my coach used to get us to do is a standard session that probably fits into this kind of category. We used to do 8 by K. So it's slightly further than anything we've talked about here, but that's 8K of effort between 5 and 10K pace. And we tried to hit exactly the same pace every single kilometre, every single effort. But so if we're doing 8, either the 6th or the 7th one would be much harder. So he'd say, right, all out on this one, I want you to go 10, 20 seconds faster for this kilometre. Like this is really hard. Almost to stop people, because people either do it, in my experience, do it one way or the other. They either go too fast in the first 2 reps and then they're dying for the rest of them and everything gets slower. Or they're so conservative for the first 6 or 7 efforts that on the 8th one, Everyone can be a hero.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're in a group, you'll see this in every training group around the country. There's always one person that doesn't put their effort in at the front of the group pacing, and they literally just hang around at the back chilling out, and then they absolutely hammer the very last rep like a hero.
Rate that.
So no last rep heroes. And then the goal here would be to go hard on the sort of penultimate but one rep. And then you put yourself in a whole world of trouble, and then you're trying to recover to run the paces you were running before for the last couple. That's really difficult.
So that's interval training. I want to talk about tempo runs.
Yes.
Which I feel like, for me, have made a huge difference. Kind of with 5K, but more towards like the longer distances, because this is teaching you to run relatively hard, but that all of the breaks and the rests are gone.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a tempo workout, like the one that you described, the kind of longer run, you've got like tempo efforts mixed in with interval efforts.
Yeah.
So there's also lots of people use tempo and threshold interchangeably.
Yes.
Tempo is slightly slower than threshold referring to your lactate threshold.
Yeah.
That's the point at which your body goes from being able to kind of filter through the lactate to the lactate kind of starting to build up.
Yes. So you go past your kind of aerobic capacity and you start to work anaerobically. You can't clear out that lactate fast enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So a tempo run, what you're trying to do is kind of slowly push up the pace at what you're able to do. It's quite often like on your Garmin, for example, you have your like threshold pace.
Yes.
Tempo runs is going to feed into that as well, but they are slightly different things. So your threshold runs will be slightly faster and you can't sustain it for as long. A tempo run, you might be able to hold that pace for a little bit longer.
Yeah, and probably a lot of people don't know and can't feel the difference between tempo and threshold. They're very closely aligned, but what you can tell the difference with is when you've gone too fast.
Yeah.
So if you're above your lactate threshold, your legs start to feel heavy. If you've going way too fast, you might even like slightly start to taste that slightly metallic-y taste in the back of your throat.
It is a good way to figure out a tempo run to think about your 10K pace. So say you run a 10K in 50 minutes, 5 minutes per kilometre. It's a bit slower than a 10K pace. So would that be 5:20 per kilometre?
Well, there's no hard and fast like add X kind of set number of seconds, but it's definitely slower. It's definitely slower than 10K pace.
Okay.
It gets complicated when you're talking about half marathon and marathon pace. If you're not going to be able to get tested in the lab, then it is better to be doing this stuff slightly slower rather than slightly too fast. And what we're suggesting here is you can do things like, as a beginner, you might try to run 15 or 20 minutes at a tempo or a threshold pace, and you could alternate like different weeks. So one week you could do at a slightly slower pace, which you might consider tempo. Then the next week you do at a slightly faster pace that you might consider a threshold. But in both cases, you're trying to almost find that limit and see where your fatigue starts to creep in.
Well, it's just you're not out for as long, are you? So if you're a beginner, you're only out for 20 minutes. If you're intermediate, you're out for 30. And if you're advanced, you might be out for 40. So I'm just thinking, pacing wise, if you take that 50-minute example for, if that's your 10K pace, so say you run a tempo run at 5:30, but then your easy run might be 6 minutes. So actually it probably is easier to think about your own numbers. They're just an example.
Yeah, I think doing something like a tempo or a threshold run as part of a group is really difficult because no one's got exactly the same physiology. So no one's going to be working at the same energy systems. And so this is probably one of the ones where you might start as a group, but then ultimately you should be diligent to your own heart rate and your own like running how you feel. And yeah, we've broadly throughout this discussion used threshold and tempo interchangeably. But with both of those things, what you're trying to do is, what happens is as you get faster, your heart, as you run at faster paces, your heart rate goes up. But also the faster you go, you get your graph of lactate in your blood is relatively flat to a certain point. Then there's a turn point, and then it really ramps up beyond your lactate threshold. And so what you're trying to do is run below the point at which the lactate really starts to build up. And then as you get fitter, you're shifting that whole curve.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a piece of paper, you're shifting it to the right so that that turn point where you start to produce way more lactate happens at a faster pace. So everything you're trying to shift.
I see.
That way, that's how you know you're getting fitter.
I love the tip on this. If you can speak in full sentences, you're going too easy. If you can't talk at all, it's too hard. Or if you're just like me and you're running, you can't talk.
Yes. That was you on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I think Andy at one point was like, "You doing all right, mate?" And you just went, struggling. It's just one word, struggling.
Yeah.
But it is a good tip. That is a really good tip.
Yeah, so this is the single type of training that made the biggest difference to me in my professional career. I
think
could always
it's
run
quite
like on the
often-
track.
It's the one that gets a bit ignored, because if you're only doing kind of
Yeah.
3 or 4 runs a week, you kind of have to make a decision of like what your speed work is going to
Yeah.
be. Is it going to be intervals? Is it going to be tempo or a threshold run, or is it going to be what you're going to go through next?
Yeah. So on that, I would say that you can then, if you, like, for example, for my marathon, I was only doing 3 runs a week. One of those was my kind of faster run, and the other was a recovery run and then a long run. So you've got a couple of options. One is to alternate what your faster run is and do intervals one week and then tempo or threshold the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other option is you do intervals, a recovery run, and then within, say, a longer run, you might do a short section at half marathon pace or your tempo pace or your threshold pace, just to get that kind of extra aerobic training in there that's
Yeah.
a little bit faster than recovery pace.
Right. Third workout.
Fartlex, so means speed play in Swedish, and it's can be absolutely anything that you want it to be. So even the interval sessions that we talked about earlier on could be a form of fartlek. But the key to fartlek is you don't really stop running. So
Yeah.
you're always moving. You don't walk any recoveries ideally, but you're massively varying your pace, and you can do a completely informal, no structured fartlek where you just pick random bits. I'm going to run hard to the top of this hill. I'm going to, run easy until I see someone. And you can just pick landmarks, go hard, easy, and just decide you're going to do that for 30 minutes.
It's quite a good like run to feel test
Yeah.
as well. Or if you do feel like you're in a bit of a running rut,
Yeah.
I think that's quite fun to be able to learn the kind of diligence of it.
Yeah.
So I went out with Tom. I was on the bike. He was doing his long run,
Yeah.
and he was kind of doing bits that were running, doing bits that were walking, and you do use that like in a longer session of like, okay, I'm going to run to this tree.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take a walking break here. If you can start to input that within like a faster run, like a fartlek, then I think that really builds the diligence if you do want to use like a run walk strategy in a race.
Yes. So you could do loads of different things. I remember being set different fartleks often if I was coming back from an injury or a small illness or something, because it can, especially if you do it on an undulating route, completely take pace out of the equation.
Yeah.
So you're less obsessed with, I've been told I need to run at 6 minutes per kilometre or 4 minutes per kilometre, whatever it might be. You can just go and run 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute times 4 times 5 times 3, whatever it might be, with a 1 minute jog recovery in between, or just jog recovery in between until your heart rate comes down to a certain point. And then that's your effort. And it's just whatever effort you can do for 3 minutes. It's not, you're not necessarily worrying about the pace. You're just thinking, well, I've got this many efforts to do. I'm just going to run how I feel today.
So your RPE on the fast bits of a fartlek don't need to be as fast as on an interval session. So it can be from 7 to 9?
Yeah, so instead of being like 8 or 9 on an interval session where you are just by the end it's certainly a VO2 max session, you'd be pretty cooked by the end.
More flexible.
Yeah, then much more flexible. You could do some stuff that I would consider at a steady pace if you wanted to, which is probably 6 out of 10. But yeah, if to get the maximum benefit, it's anything from 6 to 8 out of 10, I imagine, is very, unless you've got some efforts in there where you're literally going to sprint for 20 seconds, and then you probably could be doing 9 out of 10 effort. But it's enough that you can stop that, what effort you've just done, which is hard, and then keep jogging. And then you might want to extend that jog out when you need a little bit of extra recovery. The brilliant benefit of fartlek is it's just doing something at higher intensity, very little pressure or structure.
But I see. But if you're splitting it up into fast versus easy, is there more fast or more easy?
So more fast, I would say. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So because on our examples are, if you're a beginner, you do 6 times 1 minute fast and 2 minutes easy. Whereas if you're advanced, you do 5 times 3 minutes fast, but followed by 2 minutes easy, plus 5 times 1 minute fast and 1 minute easy. So there is more fast stuff.
Yeah, but I would say that's a good way of thinking about it. If you're new to running or don't run that often, then starting with kind of more slower running and less faster running makes total sense. So when I said, yes, it should have more intensity and less recovery, I'm very much thinking about from my personal standpoint, if you've built up to that level, like I would do, the fartlek that I do most commonly is 2 sets of 5 minute, 4 minute, 3 minute, 2 minute, 1 minute. So that's 30 minutes of hard effort, but I only have 1 minute recovery between them. So that's only 10 minutes of recovery.
This is definitely the area of running fartlek that I do the least of. Because I regularly will do intervals.
Yeah.
Tempo, I don't really know how to run except at tempo. And
Pace
then,
B.
Yeah, pace B. And then I'll have a Saturday park run or we'll do a race. But I don't think I ever do far
I think
less.
you're
Why
someone that
don't
needs the
this-
structure though. I think you kind of almost need, you're very good at like, oh, Andy's put this thing in my diary. I'm going to do exactly what's written on the tin.
Yeah.
Why don't you try a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 this week?
Yeah.
Oh, I will do.
Just one.
I will report back.
1 or 2 sets.
Because talking that through actually seems really good. I think it's incredibly helpful to use the RPE. In fact, Andy was putting in his watch on Saturday after we finished. Just how you feel.
What did you
putting
rate? Hang on. What did
I
you
did it
rate
for him.
Hell's Fire Parkrun?
I know you told me I should put 9
Yeah.
for Hell's Fire Parkrun. I
Yeah.
think
And
I
this
put,
is the Garmin like rating
it says
that you
out
get
of 10, and it says like, 1 is light,
Light.
and then all the way up to 9 is extremely hard or whatever.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I put 2 or 3.
I don't think he even broke a sweat. It's really annoying. It's really annoying. He's quite annoying, actually. I've known him a long time.
Thanks, mate.
Anyway,
Well, hopefully that is useful. Do let us know if you want any more tips on workouts to make you faster. Should we cover some news?
let's do it. Should we talk about the Icons event? Because this is taking place in London at Crystal Palace. So there's a 100 metre hurdles, 200 metre, 400 metre, 8 and 1500 metres, as well as the long jump. It's interesting how they've picked it, but this whole event is blending fashion with running.
I think this is. I'm just going to come out and say it. This is stupid.
I didn't think
know-
you were going to say this.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This is. I actually had a point on this that I never thought I'd be able to say in the podcast, but this is the perfect opportunity. I find the Running Channel office sometimes irritating because everyone comes to work and like looks really fashionable. I am the type of person where I love an off day.
When are you going to start?
This is what I mean. I hate. I just feel like running should be a sacred space where you don't need to look good. You
Yes.
pull on anything that you want to put on, you go out, you do whatever you want to do.
I feel
you
like you've
come
gone off
back,
brand.
and you don't need to look fashionable.
Do you think she's gone off brand here? This is not normally her. She's normally kind
It's
of
just-
let be what will happen.
Yeah.
It
No,
will
I'm-
happen, but I was just
The magic of-
if we have to have matching. Don't get me wrong. I've just bought some very fashionable new running tops, and
Yeah.
when I remember to wash them, I wear them and I look great. But I just can't. Like, if you're running 5 times a week,
I know what you mean.
why does your outfit? And I'm not saying
There's
that
a
this
fashion
means that we
runway
have
that's
to-
going to show off what they're wearing before they actually do the
Yeah.
events.
And this-
I just think the two worlds existed perfectly fine separately. So why do we need to bring them together?
Well, also that there was something in, I think is it Paris Fashion Week? And
Equally ridiculous.
and Strava had an event where you had to turn up in your best running fit.
Terrifying.
Like what? This
What is
also,
a best running fit?
Yeah, also-
do I wear a bucket hat?
I
Do I
don't-
wear a cap? Do I wear high
don't-
socks? Do I wear low socks? Do I wear carbon plates?
Yeah. So, but I also, I'm going to sound so old, but I don't understand why they've stopped using the word out in outfit. Why is it fit? Doesn't even make sense. What's happened?
What do you mean?
This is like...
Well, that's what fit's
Yeah,
short
but it's
for, right?
OOTD.
Fit.
It's
Outfit.
not F.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like check your fit means check
It's
your
not
outfit.
FOTD.
Yeah, check your outfit.
But I don't
Fit
like
of
it.
the day.
Okay, check your fit.
Outfit of the day. Yeah, it's better.
I think
Well-
we've just really lost the Gen Z market.
Yeah,
It's all right.
sorry. If you're listening to this, I'm out of touch. But that's
I
what I
am
said.
young.
Back in the room.
I am 27 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well-
I enjoy going out sometimes in things that do not match. Like
Yes.
yesterday, I went out on the bike. I was wearing a blue pair of shorts. I was wearing a blue sports bra.
All right.
They were different blues.
Well,
I was wearing blue
I'm with you.
shoes.
The
It was
magic
the
of running, the
third
magic of
different
running is that you can rock up in like an old cotton tee from
Agreed.
when you were like at school.
Agreed.
Or like,
But
Yeah.
and it shouldn't
is the-
matter.
I understand. But just to get the other side here, is not...
Look, Mr. Journalist.
No, I'm just going to point
a
out.
balanced
So the
opinion.
idea here is to bridge the gap between fashion and sport. And if by using fashion you bring in more people who would not be interested in sport and actually maybe start doing some exercise and help the problems that we've got with obesity.
Don't make a good argument.
No.
on
The
this.
problems that we've got. The problems that we've got. If that brings people in who would never have done it because they see Keely Hodgkinson, looking amazing, wearing some amazing outfits.
Thank you.
Then great.
That is,
Well done a job.
You know what? It's doing no harm. I just hope it doesn't become the standard that you have to look really good when
That's
you
the
go for
that's
it.
I
the
agree.
key.
No, I completely
If you
agree.
feel like you can't show up to something, like actually that's the experience I've
Oh, yeah,
had in
like,
cycling in the past. That
Oh,
you,
I hate that.
What
You-
on earth would you wear to this event?
yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, I mean,
We haven't been
Yeah.
invited.
Yeah,
so I think
there's a
We haven't, we're not going.
we're
Yeah.
not going.
We don't need to worry about the,
Do you
the
know
problem.
Do you know what this reminds me of? So you know the classic. Do you know the Salomon trainers that everyone wears in London, which are the like trail shoe,
Yes.
like super outdoor shoe. I saw such a good social post of someone being like, just giving at least one pair of Salomon shoes the treatment they should deserve, and they were actually on a hike.
Yes.
And they were like, rather than visiting 10
Do you remember
coffee
we went
shops
on a
in central
team
London?
hike like maybe 2 years ago, and you were all making fun of me because I said I had my walking shoes and I was going to bring them with me.
He whips out some Salomons.
And then
like, sorry,
because I had these like 10 or 15 years ago before they were fashionable.
What were you wearing before that? Green Flash.
Hey, I did used to have a pair of green
bet you
flash
did,
back
yeah.
in the day.
No idea what that
Just
is.
one more thing on this. I think this whole event contradicts what a lot of the big players in the running industry have been trying to do over the last 24 months. And I picked 24 months on purpose because a load of the major brands changed their marketing styles 2 years ago, in the build up to the Olympics, and came out with, slogans that basically told people to run in their own fit, their own way, in their own style. This Icons event is at contrast to so many of the new slogans or the slogans that were adapted or pushed out in the last 24 months. No, it is.
But we're seeing loads of brands debuting their shoes at fashion weeks rather than
but
just
the idea that runner is you and you can run in your own style.
Yeah.
And this is at odds with that.
Maybe that's a good point. Maybe you can't speak. Maybe this is just highlighting. Like I will reserve my opinion for when I see the event. I think what I'm imagining is that there is like one fashion that will be set, and there will be like, this is the way the runner should dress. But actually, what I would love to see from this event is totally different
like individuality.
style. Yeah, individuality. Basically, like I would love people to look at it and go like, oh, I wouldn't wear that. Oh, but I would wear that. Oh, I kind of wear that already. Do you know what I mean? So it's a broad spectrum.
I think I'm with Rick on the idea of doing something totally different to embrace the fact that running is pretty cool right now, even if I don't feel very cool. And doing that in a different way is exciting. But obviously a lot of the stuff at that high end where fashion meets running is very expensive. So that's something to be aware of. But part of this, maybe we're not talking about too much, just to wrap up, is that like this one's it's women only, right? I think the Icons event.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And I think about the really powerful stuff that's happened in moments like this in the past few years, where female sports stars have chosen to, what they want to do is show that a very fit, strong body that can be used for lots of different events. So think about Serena Williams in tennis. She was like massive on this. And then you've got distance runners, you've got field eventers, you've got people with very different kind of body shapes and body types. That's a powerful message to send to my daughter, for example, is in the very early days of swimming. And that will change the way, if she keeps doing it, that will change her body. She'll look a different way. And so having that in the context of fashion is pretty cool, right? Because it will empower loads of young women to think, it doesn't matter, like you can look any different way, you can wear whatever you want, you can be strong and powerful and all those sort of things. And I think I'm sure that Dina Masher-Smith in the past has been on the cover of what are effectively fashion magazines. And then Keely Hodgkinson is in these amazing kind of ball gowns and stuff like that. So it's not just about, it's the context, isn't it? It's seeing people doing sport in their sportswear, but then also combining that with fashion.
I feel like you nicked my point, but yeah.
He did, and he said it a lot better than you did.
Do you think?
No,
I disagree.
Thanks, guys.
Well, do let us know what you think. Questions.
Hi, Running Channel team. Since Rick often mentions it, I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Aylin, originally from Turkey, but currently living in the Netherlands.
Hello.
I've got a question I've been meaning to ask. Do you usually wave, nod or say hi when you pass another runner on a run? Back in Istanbul, this is quite common and it felt natural. But here and in other places while I've been travelling, it seems less consistent, sometimes even a little bit awkward to greet someone and not get a response. Personally, I enjoy acknowledging my fellow runners. To me, it's a simple way of recognising someone's effort and being part of a shared experience. But I also wonder if others find it odd or intrusive when a stranger waves at them mid-run.
Can I give a hot take on this?
Go on.
Oh, God, you're full of them today.
I think I would love it if every single runner on the planet waved to each other every single time. But I think it's time relevant. Let me explain. I think if you're pre 9 a.m. out for a run, most likely the only other people who you might see out on your travels are other runners, dog walkers, or a few people who have to be up that early. So then I think you do have that shared experience of like, oh yeah, I'm up to morning. Any time between kind of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m, I think that's lost because the world is awake. So then you're just amongst too many things. Then I think at 6 p.m. you go back to being like, we're out, we're runners, we're getting it done when everyone else is
I don't think
out.
it's, for me, it's not time necessarily, it's more context. And so going, it just doesn't happen in London really very much.
Oh no, yeah, in London, if you look at someone else whilst they're running, bad.
But in the countryside, or like,
lovely.
then it's, everyone says that. Generally, I'll be annoyed with someone if they don't acknowledge me.
Really?
But you also can't.
Annoyed?
Yeah, well, just.
Will you carry that with you for the rest of the day?
Yeah, sometimes I feel a little bit like I've been snubbed. But I also...
Sorry, do you know who I am?
No,
I'm
not like
Andy
that.
Baddeley from
You're
the running
a
channel.
sensitive flower,
I went to
aren't
the
you?
Olympics
I am.
and you haven't said hello to me.
Not like
For
that.
mate, for a CEO, you can't be that sensitive. You just need to let it bounce off you.
No, I know, I should.
You need to be better at that. You just need to get
thank
better
you.
at that. You know, it'll help you.
Look how annoyed he
It's
is.
so
Just don't-
difficult. You guys are
just
so
don't-
difficult today.
Don't rise to it, mate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
I
take a
do
deep breath, count to 10.
I'm rising to you guys not letting me
Yeah.
speak today.
I can see the hairs
Look,
rising on his legs.
Can you drop some love in?
You
Also,
can't see on the top of his
His
head.
head.
I can't even get a comment in to say, please drop a comment to say whether or not you think they should let me
We're
talk.
still employed.
But I understand some people might, in a particular situation, there's a lot of safety conversations around running, aren't there? And whether you might feel a little bit intimidated to say, if you're a particular runner and then someone else sort of says, oh, hi, hello, or waves or just nods at you, you might just want to keep your head down and not get involved. So
Yeah.
I get that. I wonder if anyone feels like that. But then also if you're out in Victoria Park in London, I did a workout the other night and I was passing a runner every 5 or 10 meters. You can't say hello to everyone. Also, you're going to pass them multiple times in the same park on the same route.
Have you ever done that?
You can't like hello
I've
time.
changed direction due to that.
To not have to say an awkward hello to them again.
Yeah, well awkward.
Wow, that's
That
weird.
is awkward.
Well, I just feel like after, if you're there, like Battersea Park, if
Yeah.
you're there doing 15 reps, one, kind of nice to have a change of direction.
Yeah.
Two, if you've got into the like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
That
That is awkward.
I just don't have the spare energy.
I love it when I can
Don't
acknowledge.
have the spare energy. Sorry, Mr. Born motivated. Doesn't have the energy to greet people.
Listen, I'm the first person to greet, say hello before and after, just not during.
Right, fine.
Fair enough. I always will try to say hello, and I like it when someone says hello to me. It gives me a little pep.
Right, very briefly, the club. There's a tech and a gear space. Mark's been doing something fun in there.
Yeah, so we've recently done a video on how to choose a hydration vest. So if you do want more tips and advice on gear, tech, if you have any questions, then do go and check out the Running Channel Club.
It's like a little bit of crowdsourcing, isn't it? Because we have some expertise because we test a whole bunch of different stuff, but then there's obviously thousands of people in there who might have the same sort of different shaped or width feet to you, or have experienced things with blisters or chafing or whatever, and then be able to recommend products. Actually, I saw one in the other day where there's a whole bunch of people piling in on a very specific kind of sports bra recommendation, which I thought was really cool. I couldn't add very much to that. But
I find myself reading through all of it as well because I find it so interesting, especially, this isn't necessarily gear and tech, but race recommendations. So useful. If you want a race report on basically any race ever, go into the Running Channel Club. And speaking of races, this is an exclusive. I think this is the first time.
Just for podcast listeners and viewers.
Yeah, and if you've listened all the way to the end, because this is a long version of the Running Channel podcast, we are going to be doing one of the biggest giveaways we've ever done in the Running Channel Club. Free giveaway for club members very, very soon. So if you have been considering joining the club, then keep your eyes peeled on YouTube and on socials to kind of find out what the giveaway is. But if you want to enter, then go and check out the club.
Yes, and it involves me.
It does. Well,
involves you.
Well, I mean,
actually, you could take advantage of this giveaway and completely ignore me. That is all. Yes, that is. Don't worry. So if you don't like
caveat,
me, or if you two are,
you just have to listen to Andy say what the giveaway is, and then you can.
Okay. Yeah.
So what's the giveaway?
Well, I think we can tease it. It's to do with Valencia Marathon, where I'm planning to run, and also the fact that race is actually sold out. Does that give enough of a teaser as to what we might be?
Pull some strings.
Yeah, we
sold out means nothing.
I think that's less of a tease than a full Sunday roast.
Well, there you go. So stay tuned for that.
This podcast comes out on Saturday, the 19th of July. So in the coming week or so, the competition will both open and close. So there's a small window of opportunity to get in there.
Fast.
Yeah.
Be quick.
Super.
Do your interval sessions so you can run straight to the giveaway.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.